Top administrators at Duke University say they refuse to give out any confidential student records to law enforcement without a subpoena.
Caleb, you will not believe this. I have deep fried alligator right here with me, and this is literally one of hundreds of different types of food they're offering this year. These issues don't just affect students. An estimated 68% of American adults use Facebook and 28% use Instagram. The fear of missing out, or FOMO, when users feel pressure to participate in a certain activity just so that they don't have to watch it on social media later and feel excluded. It serves as a coded map with latitude and longitude lines and the outline of this lake, so future generations will be able to find the archive. Gigi Davidson lives in Pittsburgh, and she has a special hobby: beekeeping. She first became interested in beekeeping after listening to a podcast.
He was talking about the plight of the bee and how important it was that every single person did everything they could to help save the bee, because when the bees are gone, humans are gone.
Now she spends her spare time working the bees, making sure they're living peacefully, producing honey, even providing them with food or bee tea during the winter.
I look at them every day to make sure they're okay. I say hi to them. I talk to them.
Davidson says she's worried for the bees. According to Bee Informed, a not-for-profit organization that studies honeybee population decline, bee populations are being decimated by things like pesticides and parasites. And that could be bad news for humans. She says one of the ways to tackle this issue is through education about bees. And that's exactly what Lee Catherine Bonner is doing with her company, Bee Downtown.
We're trying to change the stigma around honeybees, and a little bit of education goes such a long way.
A fourth-generation beekeeper herself, Bonner started the company in 2014. Businesses like restaurants and clothing stores sponsor hives, which are located across the triangle, like these hives that sit on top of the American Tobacco campus in Durham.
Studies show that honeybees thrive in urban areas more so than in rural ones, which is why we took that, inspiration and brought the bees to the city.
Bonner says her company creates a mutually beneficial relationship between local businesses and bees.
It's a great marketing tool. It shows they're green, it shows they care for the environment. Millennials are more likely to work for companies that care for the environment. People are more likely to spend more money with companies that care for the environment.
If a business sponsors a hive, Bee Downtown takes care of the rest, visiting the hives as often as necessary to make sure the bees are happy and healthy. In Durham, I'm Katie Kamen reporting. In the pit, in the quad, and even just walking to class, students are glued to their phones, checking social media.
I would say I use social media like every hour of every day.
And that person that's walking to class and is looking down at their phone and then bumps into someone.
A nonprofit organization called Anxiety says that there are 3 types of social media stresses. The first is the compare and despair factor, where users compare their seemingly average lives to the more exciting ones they see on social media.
There is a lot of pressure to look like other people and act like other people, and especially with college stuff, both social and career-wise, you see all these people doing all these amazing internships and stuff, and it gets really overwhelming.
The fear of missing out, or FOMO, when users feel pressure to participate in a certain activity just so that they don't have to watch it on social media later and feel excluded.
I have a total FOMO anxiety every single time. If my friends are hanging out and they post a Snapchat story, I get so sad.
And addiction, where withdrawal symptoms and a sense of dependency are present daily.
I get really anxious if I don't have it near me or I don't know where it is. If it dies when I'm out at night, I feel really weird. I almost feel unsafe.
While social media might feel social, psychologists say it isn't. In her book, The Village Effect, Dr. Susan Pinker says, face-to-face contact matters. Tight bonds of friendship and love heal us, help children learn, extend our lives, and make us happy. Not just any social networks will do. We need the real, in-the-flesh encounters. UNC student Shannon Farrell agrees. She deleted her Instagram account last month and hopes others will follow her lead.
I realized it wasn't really adding anything to my life, so I just figured I'd take it out altogether.
Farrell says so far she's had no regrets. In Chapel Hill, I'm Katie Kamen reporting. Raleigh native Paul Shuping was in the Navy during the Vietnam War and the Cold War era.
I was a nuclear propulsion plant specialist, helped build the Eisenhower, and then I went to the Enterprise.
In 2013, Shuping cut his thumb while working as a contractor. That led to MRSA, blood poisoning, and a stroke. Doctors put him into a medically induced coma for 6 weeks. The brain damage from the stroke left him with PTSD, and as a result, he was battling a severe case of depression.
I actually found myself not wanting to live and had made a plan to commit suicide.
But through his dog Abe, he found hope.
It's a struggle sometimes to get up and keep going. But with him in my life, I have to, because he relies on me. He's a very good emotional support dog. He will sense if I'm on the edge, and he will come and stop me.
Shuping says he owes this special relationship to Vets United, an organization that pairs shelter dogs with veterans suffering from PTSD. Dr. Terry Morris is the founder and executive director of Vets.
Our mission is to rescue, train, partner and train animals with veterans who are suffering from emotional and physical disabilities.
Through weekly meetings, Morris helps veterans train their dogs to be certified therapy or service animals. Some of the dogs are even capable of completing tasks such as closing doors,
good girl,
picking up items, and helping their owners undress. And though the work is hard, Morris says it's rewarding.
The enjoyment that you get from seeing a veteran smile and a pup smile at the same time is priceless.
The best part for Shuping?
Vets to Vets has become family to me, in the absence of other family.
And it's a family that continues to grow. In Raleigh, I'm Katie Kamen reporting. Tucked away in Hallstatt, between the peaks of the Austrian Alps, at the top of a cable car line, and through an entrance that takes you deep into a salt mine, sits the Memory of Mankind.
The Memory of Mankind archive tries to depict our presence by collecting text and images we think are important and representative for our period.
This man, Martin Koons, created the Memory of Mankind. It's a collection of more than 500 ceramic tiles the size of your hand. It's with these tiles and many more that Koons intends to create a snapshot of the culture and society of today. To do this, people, organizations, and companies around the globe can contribute content to put on the ceramic tiles. The content might be pictures, favorite recipes, books, newspaper editorials, even the location of nuclear waste repositories. This is how Koons makes the tiles. He soaks a special sheet with the information on it, presses the sheet onto the tile, and then cures it in a kiln. Koons says this process will allow the information to be readable for at least thousands of years, if not longer. Why is Koons going to such trouble to preserve this information?
Our digital data will not last forever. In 5,000 years, the people in the future will have no clue who we are, what we think, what we thought, what we lived for.
According to the International Data Corporation, the digital universe is growing. By 2020, there could be nearly as many digital bits as there are stars in the entire universe. And that number, 3 followed by 24 zeros. And Koons says because people's lives are increasingly dependent on technology, when that technology corrupts, decays, or becomes obsolete, we'll lose all of that information. But UNC archaeologist Dr. Jennifer Gates Foster says this won't be a problem for future archaeologists trying to study our civilization.
Archaeology has developed over the centuries that's existed as a field, has developed ways to access a version of human history from material remains, and I don't see any reason why there can't be an archaeology of the 21st century.
But she says the Memory of Mankind archive lacks context, which would make it difficult to study.
What you're describing, though, sounds like a fairly disconnected, kind of incoherent group of materials.
Koons says Memory of Mankind isn't disconnected, nor is it a doomsday project or conspiracy theory. He says it's a gift to future generations. In Hallstatt, Austria, I'm Katie Kamen reporting.